Comments are pieces of code which are ignored by the Python interpreter. Comments are written to make source code easier to understand by other people. Python supports single-line comments, meaning that they can cover only one line. Anything written following hash is considered a single-line comment in Python. We learned a program is a set of instructions. Print function can be used to write in the output screen. The text to be printed has to be enclosed in quotes. Print is a built-in function. Hash is used to write comments in Python.
You know what? A computer is a dumb machine. Computers can only follow instructions in a language they understand. It's up to a programmer to choose a language that is best for the specific task. Let us learn how to write a program in Python to display "Hello World" on our screen. In Python, print is a built-in function to display text on the screen. So for our program to display "Hello World" should be written inside round brackets and within the double quotes. Also, a hashtag is used to write comments in Python. Comments are used so that others can understand the code easily. These comments should be written only in a single line and are ignored by Python interpreter. Now, let's compare a program to print "Hello World" in Java and Python. Python uses less code to give you the same result as compared to Java. Java uses semicolons or curly brackets for structuring the code, whereas Python uses indentation or spacing. In Python, we do not need to declare variable types, functions, methods, or parameters in the code. This allows the programmer to write short and flexible programs.
In the above bookshelf, we can see many sections which are precisely labeled. So, if we want to place a mathematics book, we will keep it in the section labeled as mathematics, right? The above bookshelf can be used to store the books we want. Similarly, in programming, variables act as containers to store values. These values can be anything, from numbers, to text or entire functions, and just like the labels in case of the bookshelf, variables are identified by variable names. The values stored in the variables can be used further in our programs. How? We can retrieve them by referring to the variable names which are used to identify these variables. The variable name, value and assignment operator, equals, are the three things required to store values in the variable. Here, my var is the variable name and it is assigned a value of 60 using the assignment operator equals. So, my var is a variable with the value 60. If you know other languages, like C++, you will see that variables don't have to be declared. We can also store text in variables. Text values are known as strings in programming. A string is a sequence of characters. The characters can be a letter or number, even anything written between double quotes or single quotes is a string in Python. Here my var1 is a string having the value hello. As 456 is written inside double quote hello3, 456, hello, 45 number are examples of strings in Python. As 456 is written inside double quotes, it is considered as a string in Python. We can also store numbers in variables. Numbers containing a decimal point are known as floating point numbers in programming. A floating point number refers to a number consisting of two parts separated by a decimal point. A floating point number refers to a number consisting of a whole number is known as integer in programming. Let's see how numbers are stored in Python. Here, my var, which has a value equal to 2, is an integer. Here, my var2. Here, my var2 has a value 25.54 and thus it is a floating point number. Regardless of the type of number, whether a floating point or an integer, Python views them as a single category, numbers. Python automatically identifies the type based on values and we do not need to specify. That's how different types of variables can be created in Python. In programming, variables are containers which can be used to store values. Values can be numbers or strings. Strings are written inside double quotes or single quotes. These variables are referenced using their variable names.
In real life, whenever you travel, you store your necessities in a suitcase. In programming, variables act as containers that store values. Do you know how to store values in these variables? Let's see an example to store a number in a variable named myContainer. Value 60 is stored in a variable, myContainer, using an equal to sign. We can also store text in variables known as strings in programming. A string is a sequence of characters consisting of a letter or a number, or even a special character. Let's see an example of a string. Anything written between double quotes or single quotes is a string in Python. Hello is stored in the variable named container1. Normally in C++, we need to declare variable types depending on the value we're storing in the variable. For example, int, float, and string. But in Python, we do not need to declare any variable type. Python identifies the variable type based on its value. Regardless of the value, which can be an integer, decimal number, or string, Python views them as a single category.
But, in this way, let's see how we can take input from the user in Python. We have learned how to store values. But how do we store multiple values? Well, we can simply create a list of values. Just like we create a list of items to buy before we go shopping. As easy as that. To summarize, lists are used to store a set of related values. Items of the list can be sorted, you can perform tasks on each item of the list together at once. There are a few activities that we do daily, such as brushing, bathing, eating breakfast and more. These activities follow similar set of sequence and are repeatedly. Ever wondered if we could get them done in just one step? Unfortunately, real life doesn't allow us a shortcut. But hey, computer world does. We are about to find out how. Almost everything we tell the computer to do, such as even copy and paste, is actually a group of instructions which we also call predefined procedure. Aha! You just made the computer create a list and sort it for you. Now let us make the computer remember sorting in alphabetical order and displaying it using stored group of instructions. Here you saw how you can define a sequence of steps and reuse it when required. You may use procedures to remember steps and perform when required. Similarly, we use functions when we want to. Provide input to the procedures. Display result from the procedures. In a nutshell, procedures perform a task, while functions produce a result. To summarize, group of similar instructions are written together and stored as procedures or functions. Procedures and functions are used to make the programs reusable and shorter. Functions can display the result while procedures can only carry out the tasks. Here's the good news for you: computers don't make mistakes. Here's the bad news for you: humans like us can tell the computer what to do and cause mistakes. Imagine your bank program making a mistake and removing your account balance. Hence, we are about to learn how to make computers avoid mistakes. Mistakes or bugs can cause a program to show unexpected results or sometimes make the computer stop working. Because my underscore number will never be less than 9, the program will never display the output and get into an infinite loop. Mistakes in programs are called bugs. Debugging is the process of finding bugs in a program. Bugs are usually logic or syntax-based. Bugs can be avoided by commenting, using proper names and testing the program.